Here is perhaps the most bizarre story we've heard about in a while. Staking claim to the North Pole. Russia is making a very bold move, planting its flag on the Arctic seafloor. It's a decision that has many nations up in arms, and Fox's Dana Lewis has the details.
Two deep-water Russian submarines resurface after a historic and highly controversial 9-hour dive at the North Pole. The research team celebrating the equivalent of what one of the Russians likened to an underwater version of a moon landing. But this was also a Kremlin-backed publicity stunt designed to formally lay claim to half the Arctic seabed, by some estimates 25% of the world's oil and gas reserves.
I think a large portion of it is a publicity stunt. It shows that Russia has this technological ability, that it has the economic ability to plant this flag on the bottom of the ocean. It sends a message out to the world.
A Russian flag planted 2.6 miles below the surface. Impressive science. The Russians used an icebreaker to carve out a 500-foot by 30-foot hole in the ice so the subs could dive. Their underwater mission established that a large portion of the Arctic sea shelf is an extension of the Russian landmass. Ground rules for establishing legal claim to the hidden Arctic wealth. But it's disputed territory with the United States and Canada. Russia is clearly flexing its geopolitical muscle.
I believe Russia becomes more and more aggressive and arrogant in its international relations. It reflects the sentiment of the present elite.
But critics say reality wasn't part of this Russian stunt. Planting a flag is one thing, trying to extract oil and gas from the Arctic seabed?
That's a whole different idea, and I don't think that anybody globally has the ability to do that now, and I don't think they will have for the next 50 years.
A normally subdued Canadian government has reacted with anger to the Russians. Their foreign minister saying, this isn't the 15th century. You just can't run around the world planting flags and claiming territory belongs to you. And a U.S. State Department spokesman says, whether it was a Russian flag or a rubber flag or a bed sheet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have legal standing on Arctic resources. In Moscow, Dana Lewis, Fox News.
Wow, our thanks to Dana Lewis for that report. Isn't this interesting? Russia's latest move has sparked worldwide controversy at a time when the country is defying other nations left and right on a number of issues. Of course, now its latest move, planting a flag claiming the Arctic floor and its untapped oil belong to Russia. So what exactly is going on with Russia these days? Let's ask our guest. He is the author of North Pole Was Here, Andrew Revkin, a reporter for the New York Times. Andrew, thanks so much for being here with us.
Great to be here.
I think this is stunning. First of all, they want this land because supposedly it's rich with oil and gas, or so Russia believes. The biggest complainant at this point appears to be Canada, who does not want Russia to do this. Is there not some international law that will settle this one way or the other?
There's a treaty, the Law of the Sea Treaty. It comes from 1982. And it basically gives any country with a shore on an ocean a 200-mile zone of economic influence. The Arctic Ocean has been kind of irrelevant for decades, though, because it's been covered with this sheet of ice. And so now in a warming climate, whatever's driving it, everyone's suddenly looking north. Now, Russia has always looked north because so much of their country faces the Arctic Ocean that they feel this is just kind of their turf.
But they've had objections from many countries, including Canada and the U.S. and Denmark and so on. So what are they doing? Are they trying to be provocative?
I think so, yeah. But since the 30s, they've maintained bases on the sea ice floating on top of the Arctic Ocean. Every year, for decades, they had teams out there living year-round on the ocean. And it's a way to sort of literally to stake a claim. You have to be there physically, and the Russians just have been determined to be out in the Arctic, on the Arctic Ocean, or in this case under the Arctic Ocean, for generations, when everyone else, except for Cold War submarines, basically it's been irrelevant territory.
And I have to run, but I want to ask you quickly, is there any chance that they will succeed in staking this claim?
It all has to go through an international treaty organization. The United States hasn't ratified the treaty yet, so we're sort of on the sidelines until that happens.
Because until we ratify, we can't legitimately object, I gather.
You don't have a seat at the table, right?
This is a very bold move and a very interesting one, and thanks for the update on it.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
I guess you just go out there and stake your claim, folks. Maybe that's how it works now.